What's up, everyone? Today we're talking about 2025 and how to actually move the needle to get out of debt. So many people are in consumer debt, okay? I think it's over 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck in one form or another. So I don't care how much debt you're in. You may just have $5,000 in credit card debt. You may have $50,000, you may have $100,000 of debt. You have to be willing to invest in yourself for the next 12 months to get out of debt so you can finally get on the path to financial freedom. One-time expenses are what set Americans back because they don't plan and budget for them. You may be living within your budget and doing awesome for 4 or 5, 6 months, then all of a sudden you have a medical bill, or you have tires on your car, or something happens, you get in a wreck, and then you have to be like, oh shoot, I need $2,000, let's put on the credit card, then I'll claw my way out. We are going to plan for that. We're going to change that. Commit today to actually making a difference, actually changing your habits so you can get ahead, so you can actually live the life you want to live. Okay, no one wants to live in debt. It's not fun. So figure out how you're going to do it. We're going to talk through it. We're going to get hyper practical. So let's dive in. Okay, first off, I want to be different than almost every other financial guru you listen to, okay? I believe there is such thing as good debt. Me and Dave Ramsey would get in multiple fights if we ever got in the same room because there is such thing as good debt. If I gave you a loan for 0% interest rate and you didn't take it, I'd look at you and say, you're an idiot. We're going to talk about bad debt today and how to get out of bad debt. What I'm going to label as bad debt is anything with an interest rate over 8 or 9%. If it's under 8%, the likelihood that you can out-invest it, meaning you could hold on to a 6% mortgage, not pay it off immediately, and go start investing in the S&P 500, which is average 10% return, that actually mathematically makes sense because you have a 4% spread there. That is an example of what could be good debt. Mortgages on rental properties could be good debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. The number I'm going to use, 8, 9%, is what I'm going to call bad debt or consumer debt. You're going to hear those terms multiple times for the next 10 minutes. We're only going to focus on bad debt today. Everything else, lump into a different category. Everyone's going to have different risk tolerances. Okay, that percentage may change for every single person. If you're 65 years old, you're staring at retirement, you don't want debt, your bad debt might be 4%. Anything under 4% you're labeling as good debt. If you're young, you have a long life ahead of you, and you're racking up some debt in rental properties or commercial properties and stuff like that, maybe it's like 10 or 11% because you're finding really good deals on real estate. But for my purpose, I'm going to keep using the 8 to 9% just because that's the average return in the stock market. Once you understand what good debt, bad debt is and your risk tolerance, I need you to bundle all your debts into one category. Write them down on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet. I don't care where you're going to put them, but I need you to label credit card, Visa, $4,200, credit card, MasterCard, $3,100. You're going to list every single debt, what it is, the amount of it, and the payment of it. You're going to list them all the way down so we have all of our debts in one central location. The way that I want you to fact check yourself is go to the last 3 months of bank statements and scan through it and make sure that you've pulled every single reoccurring payment out. Kind of scary, but the vast majority of people have debts they actually don't know they're making payments on. You set up auto payment and then they're just naturally coming out. Some of them are subscriptions, some of them are debts. We need to make sure we pull all the debts into the spreadsheet. Once you have all your debts labeled, you're going to total up at the bottom. I'm really curious what that number is, okay? Hopefully it's a manageable, digestible number and doesn't scare you to death. But if this is a really big number and you have to get a little bit drastic, I'm happy to help you, okay? You can drop stuff in the comments. I'll try to respond to comments. I truly believe that everyone can get out of debt in 12 months, but some people are going to have to get a little more drastic, okay? They might have to be selling stuff and maybe grab a side hustle, something like that to do it, but everyone can get out of debt in the next 12 months. So you have every single debt labeled out, okay? There's 2 methods that I believe in for paying off debt. The snowball method and the avalanche method. I'm going to talk through both of these and I'm going to tell you which one I like at the very end. The snowball method is one where you line up all your debts and then you're going to sort them from smallest payment to largest payment. What you are going to do is you are going to attack that smallest payment first. So let's say you've run your budget, you have $100 a month extra that you can use to pay off your debts. So all your minimum payments are made on everything, obviously. Okay, we're not going to bankruptcy. Your first one, let's say, is a $25 debt on some credit card that's just been sitting there forever. What you're going to do is that first month, you're going to take that $25 balance, which usually has a $25 minimum payment. Most credit cards have that minimum payment. And you're going to put the $100 towards that. So now you've paid off that credit card. So what you do now is month 2, you have $100 that you're going to use to pay. Now you have an extra $25 that was going to that minimum payment. So now month 2, you have $125. You're going to take that $125 and attack the next smallest one. And you're going to pay off as much as you can, $125, $125, $125. Maybe 3 months later, that one's paid off, and that minimum payment was $40. So now you have 100 plus 25 plus 40. Now you have $165 to attack the next biggest one. The reason it's called a snowball is because every time you pay off a debt, your available money to pay off the next debt grows. And so it's getting bigger and bigger like a snowball rolling. And so it gets easier and easier to pay off these larger payments, which are the ones at the bottom, because you have much more capital available to attack them. It can be really, really disheartening to only have $100 available and you're attacking a $30,000 credit card debt. The avalanche method's a completely different method. Instead of ranking these from smallest balance to largest balance, you're actually going to rank them from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And you're going to attack the highest interest rate first. So let's say your highest interest rate's a credit card and it has a $7,000 balance. You're going to attack with $100 for 70 times. Okay. You broke the rule. You're not going to pay it off in 12 months. So we're going to have to figure this out. But you're going to attack that payment with everything you have since it's the highest interest rate until it's paid off. Once you attack that one, you're then going to go after the next highest. Okay. And you're going to slowly work your way down until at the end, you're paying stuff with 8, 9, 10% interest rates. This is called the avalanche method. What will surprise you, I'm a big numbers guy. And so everyone's like, oh, you must love the avalanche method. I actually like the snowball method better. And the reason is numbers, but not none of the numbers you think. If you did the avalanche method and the snowball method side by side with $20,000 worth of debt, I actually ran the scenario, the extra interest, you would actually pay more on the snowball method by like $20 over the course of a year than you would the avalanche method. The reason I like the snowball method, they actually case studied this. The people that go in with a snowball method are statistically more likely to actually get out of debt. And the reason they did this is psychological. When you pay off that smallest balance, you're like, oh, dang, I went from 8 credit cards now down to 7. Then you do that one, you're like, I went 7 to 6. This is actually doable. Once you have all your debts laid out and you decide whether you're going to do snowball or avalanche, I like snowball better, but honestly, they're both good. Okay. Figure out what's going to work for you. I'm happy with whatever you do. You now are going to figure out how much available cash flow you have and calculate whether you can do it in 12 months. If the numbers are easy, you have $500 a month available, you have $6,000 of debt, you're like, oh, perfect. That's 12 months. I can do it. Then you're done. Okay. You can skip to like step 6 that I'm going to give in this video. But if you cannot do that, you're going to have to get a little drastic. Okay. The first one is open up your budgeting spreadsheet. If you need a budgeting spreadsheet, in the description down below, there'll be a URL where I'll give you a budgeting spreadsheet for free. But you're going to open up your budgeting spreadsheet and you're going to figure out where you can cut stuff. Now, for most of you, I'm not asking you to change your whole life and get super, super drastic here. Find stuff that are easy to cut. Are there subscriptions that you're not actually using? Okay. So many people have like Apple One subscriptions or Disney or Hulu, and they're like, I use that once a month, but I'm paying $120 in subscriptions that I'm actually using. Awesome. Free money. We're getting closer. We're moving the needle. Is there little things that you can sacrifice for 12 months so that you can get out of debt so that then we can get back on the path of financial freedom so you can introduce those things back into your life? Yes, the purpose of money isn't to enjoy it, but you will never enjoy money if you're strapped in debt. You have to get it to the point where your available cash flow to attack debt times 12 is the total value of your debt. Once you get there, you're done. You can move on to the next step. Once you've done this inside your budget and you're like, shoot, this is just not possible. Like I will literally die from starvation if I try to do that calculation. The next step is you have to get drastic. This means you are living outside your lifestyle. A lot of the times I see this, the easiest one is cars. I surround myself with people that love cars. I'm not a big car guy, but there's a lot of people that love cars around me, and they will go get a car that is outside their budget they probably shouldn't have gotten because they love cars. They will then take on a payment that is too large, and then they'll look at this and be like, I can't get out of the debt. That car payment is a 12% interest rate, and there's no way I pay it off in the next year. Sorry to tell you, you're probably selling that car. You need to figure out how to get out of debt in the next 12 months. You cannot stretch this out over 2, 3, 4 years, or it will never happen. Another place, and I hate to say this, is house. I hope that you don't have to sell your house. And a lot of you guys are saying this is getting way too drastic. And if you're thinking that, that's probably because this isn't for you. But there are people here that are living in $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in consumer debt. What's crazy is these people actually probably make the most money watching this video. I do mortgages for a living. I pull hundreds, thousands of credit reports every single month inside my company. And the people that have that kind of consumer debt are often the ones that are making the most, and they've raised their lifestyle so much they can't get it. Okay. If you are a doctor, attorney, lawyer, and you are looking at $250,000 of consumer debt because you have nice cars, tons of credit card debt, boats, everything, and you're like, it's a 12% rate. It's a 15% rate. And you've racked up all this debt. And now you're like, how are we living paycheck to paycheck making $200,000 a year? This is how. I said earlier that me and Dave Ramsey would get in fights. The one thing that I do agree with him is his foundation is honestly really solid for people trying to get out of debt. That's the whole reason of my Amplify community is we have 2 different sections to it. We have the people that are getting out of debt. Once you get out of bed debt, then we teach you how to use it as a tool and not be scared of it. Okay. That's the part that we differ on. But the fact of the matter is, if you are strapped in consumer debt, you should be doing everything you can claw out of it, because I promise you will sleep better at night. You will have more financial freedom, and you will actually enjoy the things of life so much more when you can actually afford them and it's not killing you and scaring you. And that's what you have to do to get out of debt. So hopefully that was enough motivation. I don't know where you on the scale. Okay. Some of you have like $2,000 debt and they're like, this guy just keeps rambling on. That's because the last 60 seconds wasn't for you. Those people that are strapped for debt need to have a wake-up call because they just cannot sustain what they're doing right now. So we have organized all your debts. We've figured out how we're going to pay it. We've talked through budgeting. We've come up with the 12-month rule. Hopefully we're getting closer and closer where you feel like this is actually doable. Now, you've just listened to me for like 12 minutes and you're like, I don't have anything to do. You have to block out the next 30 minutes, okay? Pause me, shut me up, and take out a piece of paper and actually actually put the work in to do what I just talked about so you can move that needle forward. Once again, though, if you're to this point, you're like 12 months is still hard. The last thing I will say, we've talked a lot about decreasing expenses. You can also increase your income. You can drive DoorDash on Saturdays. You can flip furniture or cars on the weekend. There are so many things that you can do on a temporary basis. Like I said, anyone can sacrifice anything for 12 months so long as at the end of it, you see a light at the end of the tunnel that is financial freedom and getting you back on the path. If you need to pull a second job just to bring in a couple $100 a month so you can make the numbers work, do it. I'm a firm believer that anyone in America has the ability to earn an extra $500 a month if they actually tried and worked for it. So the last thing I'm going to give you, I have 101 side hustles that you can start with in 30 days. And I just listed out every single one. Honestly, this list has been a long time in the making. I think we're up to like 124 now, just because every time I talk to someone or I have a follower or inside my community, someone's like, oh, I did this and made this much money. I just put it on there just so that I can get your brain going. Everyone can find something on this list. So if you jump in, I'll put the link down below. It's called Launchpad. Okay. That's like my free community where you can just get a bunch of freebies, favorite books, budgeting templates, 101 side hustles, all this kind of stuff. You can click on that link and jump in there, download the 101 PDF. It's just a list of a ton of different side hustles if you're looking for different ways to increase your income a little bit, because I don't care who you are. 12 months is all you have. You can either increase your income, decrease your expenses, start selling stuff off, but you have to get out of debt. Hopefully you found this valuable. Okay. We make videos like this all the time. We actually have our podcast on YouTube too. So like, subscribe, you can click my name up there, go browse all the other videos, millionaires on my podcast who have been exactly in your shoes and actually done it. Find information that will actually move the needle forward so that you can get on the path to financial freedom and actually grow your net worth.